Huch. Huch. So. Alright, chat, we're hopping right into it. Terraria 2.0 starting today. Right now. This instant. Hello, Siede. Yeah. Had a very nice week, Siede. Good to see you again. I'm a little bit sick, so I have to blow my nose a bit. How are you doing, Siede? My good old friend. Yeah, I took a break, 2 months. Now I'm back. I wanna grind Twitch again. It's a hobby of mine since 2014, and I wanna get back into it. Gotta get used to it again. But yeah, we're gonna rock it. Let me just put the music in a good volume. There you go. Perfecto. Chat, welcome back. I'm back again after 2 months, and we're gonna go right into our project, Terraria 2.0. It's a project I'm hosting. I invited about 10 people, and I think we are like 8 or something. And we're gonna play this game together, 1.4.5, and let's crack straight into it. Doing fine, nice, man. Nice. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, we have 3 people. I mean, that's something.
Morning.
Hello, Siede. Hello.
Hello.
I've already joined the server. I'm currently talking with the guide.
Alright. I'm joining in. Let's go. Yeah, okay, you checked the pinned message. Perfect. Let's see. Password.
I do find it funny that you can just use the emote window to just talk.
Yeah, bro. Crazy shit. Let me join in. Incorrect password? Did the server get hacked already?
No, I got in with the password, so it shouldn't be incorrect.
I'm in, baby.
Oh, welcome.
So, hello. Oh yeah, right team. Oh my god, Terraria 2.0. And this time we're also gonna play Master Mode.
Because that's fun.
Is it actually, bro?
Oh, certainly can be. I mean, many bosses have... I think their moveset slightly changed, or at least are a bit harder.
In Master Mode you also have trophies, right?
Yeah, trophies, and I think, yeah, the bosses such as the Cthulhu has a third last phase. Where they just charge at you at 24/7.
Let's fucking go, bro. I mean, yeah, 3 PM is a kind of scuffed time to start, but I have chosen it so the others also have a chance to join in, like Ice, Arrow, and stuff like that. Because they have very different time zones.
Understandable.
Yeah. Siede, how long did we not talk to each other?
Rather long time, honestly. Felt like an eternity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Let me just fix Discord volume. You know what? Fuck push to talk, bro. There we go. So, what are we gonna do? Oh yeah, play Terraria, right?
Well, first up, yeah, make a house, let the NPCs come in, and I don't know.
Have you played 1.4.5 yet?
I don't know, many of the stuff does feel new to me.
Mhm.
Like, I'm already noticing some stuff like the animations when you craft something and stuff like that. Like, I find it already interesting.
Zero, do you wanna get banned?
What? Why?
Bro, you already broken a rule.
Which rule? I forgot.
Join the red team, bro.
That's a rule?
That's a rule, yes.
Morning. If people spawn here, then I'm gonna need to expand it by at least 2 blocks before placing a door here. Miles, how you doing?
Hello.
Actually, no. I don't need anyone's IP this time. We are just gonna work with passwords. So just don't leak the password. That's
Pig
it.
slime.
Yeah. Hello, Error. By the way, maybe you wanna say hello to the viewers and to everybody watching. What's happening? I lost connection.
Me too.
Nice server. Very nice server. Nice. Nice server. This server is currently suspended. And our actions are unavailable. Yo, did somebody try to... Error?
Why that?
Is somebody on some bad network or some shit? Why is the server suspended?
What?
Why is the server? Did somebody hack? Seele?
What server did you... What servers did you use to get the server?
I'm using dedicated MC. That's the one I used for dedicated MC host. That's the host I use for my Minecraft server 2019-2021. I mean, you also paid on it, I think. It's a very good host. So I'm very confused. I think somebody tried to DDoS us. Liars, did you leak something?
Can you access the console or something? Like look at what happened in the console?
Yeah, I'm in the console. Yeah, let me show you this real quick. This is very interesting. Liars, make a ticket, please.
Okay. Let me open
Server is suspended. What the fuck happened, bro? I'm just trying to play Terraria.
Could mean two things. Either the server itself is currently under maintenance or isn't available, which would mean it wouldn't be just us that was hit with this right now, or I don't know, you were flagged or something.
Yeah. Suspended. What the fuck?
Okay, am I gonna make a ticket?
Yeah, Twitch. I did not see that coming. Obviously.
10-second stream, yeah.
10 sexy. That was it, my comeback. That was it. Thank you all for watching. Nah, all jokes aside, brother, what is this shit, man? What is this shit, man?
I don't know, but usually when something says it's suspended, it means either maintenance or ban.
It's crazy. Imagine ban, like for what? I chopped a fucking tree. Is tree chopping illegal or what?
Ah, yes, the vegans have taken over.
Yes. Nah, that's crazy.
I need to make a ticket. I need to know the node, but I can only know the node if the server isn't suspended. I can't look up the node.
Terraria.
Oh, what do you mean the node?
What node? No, just make ticket and billing email.
I can't. I need the node is a required thing, and I couldn't. You can see it in the general settings. No idea what it is, but you can see it there. But I can't see the general settings because the server is suspended.
Yeah, just make a ticket. They will help.
Okay, I'm leaving it empty then. I think it was there. I'm gonna look at it.
I'm gonna knock on your stream, by the way.
Okay.
Block microphone, block this. Why is everything? Did you get it? It works! It actually works!
I think I need to open Twitch.
Bro, it works! I don't know how, but it works. Yo, accept the stream, bro.
One moment, because of the plugin, I don't see the normal thing. Ah, here I can do that.
Just, you should get a pop-up or something like that.
I need to open Twitch for that.
Mm.
Because, yeah.
Here we go. Nice. Chat is on. Now we're ready. We're just waiting for the server. Our server got banned. I mean, I chopped a tree. What did you do, Zide? What exactly did you do? I feel like Zide, you did something illegal?
You saw what I did. All I did was make a small house.
That was good as fuck though. Like, why would they ban us?
I don't think it is related to Terraria. I think it may be related to, I don't know, payment processing or something.
Huh.
Because when I think of why a service would suspend you, it's either because of unpaid services or, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm genuinely confused because before I started my comeback stream, of course, we had to check the server and everything, if it's working and stuff like that. I logged in, and it's happening right now, you know? I mean, it worked before, like, I mean, we're gonna see what the ticket says. Hopefully it's some bug or some shit. Maybe it's not allowed to live stream it. Maybe that's the thing.
Mm-mm.
We're gonna see. Well, anyways, Zide, it's good to hear you again, my brother. We should play, we should talk more often, bro. For real.
Yeah.
And,
I've been more or less just doing my own thing, doing school and stuff like that.
and also, Mindustry. I really missed that. That was fun as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Bro, lost connection. This shit, bro. If anyone from Twitch chat is Smudge, let me know why our server got banned. That's crazy. Power actions unavailable. It just got suspended. Okay.
I mean, suspension could mean that either it is due to automated action or to moderator action. Either way, probably. Suspension is usually only used when something actively did something to your account. So could be that it was due to an overload, monetary issues. I don't know.
I just hope nobody actually like tries to DDoS us from the people that have access to this shit.
I doubt it was a DDoS attack.
Arrow, how are you doing, bro? Say something, bro. Are you in my Twitch chat, Arrow? Say something. Say hello in my Twitch. Nice. I'm a little bit sick since 10 days. But it's getting better for sure. I feel like tomorrow is the time where I'm like 100% healthy, and then I'm gonna also visit the library again. That's my favorite place to study. I just wish me luck. Any newsletters?
I made the ticket now.
Okay, what did they say? People are sleeping. Okay, good. Sorry, what?
I'm just waiting now for someone to answer.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like... I don't know. Did you leak the IP layers?
Section 16. We may
just checking right now.
terminate or suspend your account immediately without prior notice or liability for any reason whatsoever, including without limitation, if you breach these terms and conditions.
Alright. Yeah, let me know the terms and conditions then. Dedicated MC. I actually want to know.
The only thing that speaks about suspension is in section 16 termination, which states that basically they can suspend you for whatever reason at any time.
Crazy shit. Okay.
Yeah, someone answered, let me check. So probably gonna get an answer soon.
Personal information? No. Yeah, we're gonna find out in a minute. Okay, it's on again. It's not suspended anymore. I think he fixed it already, guys.
Okay, nice.
Let's wait what he says because I wanna know what happened. I'm able to start it again, but let's wait what the moderator says from Dedicated MC. But alright, this project is hosted by me and Liars, guys. We're both paying this shit, so I guess we're both hosting it then. We should make a house so we can collect all the trophies. You know?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. I think they're like golden, and you can literally place them and have them all physically there, which is very, very cool thing. Exclusively from I called it Error, my G. You are the one, yes. Which is exclusively on master mode. Very, very nice thing.
Okay, they had. Is it fixed now? They had a glitch on their billing.
Okay.
That is fair to assume. Automated systems typically suspend stuff when it cannot process billing.
Yeah. Good suggestion, Error, you know? Very good suggestion.
As you can see, it after all did not have anything to do with Terraria or anything. The billing was the thing.
Okay, then guess we can start again.
That's crazy. Okay. I mean, it says paid. Okay. Should be good. I'm starting the server. Let's see if it actually saved. Kinda doubt it. Probably just killed itself, the server. I'm gonna go full screen for a minute. Let's see. Server's on. Does it save the password? No. Let's see. Okay, we back. Oh, it saved. Nice. All right. Technical difficulties. As always, it's not possible to go around technical difficulties. It's just a thing of live streams. It's impossible to not have any technical difficulties. Error, red team, or ban. Yo, why the fuck is a slime killing me?
Pink slime?
No, it's a blue slime, bro.
Oh yeah, in master mode they are rather powerful.
Holy crap.
These slimes, like look at this. I'm stabbing it 5 times and I still need.
Yeah, we are very squishy.
Very much so.
I also hope that the server's not that laggy. It was like, yeah, I see you lag a bit, bro. Server host is in Netherlands, so that's, I think last time we had closer country to your place. Jay, are you there? Wanted merchant has arrived.
That yellow slime killed me.
GG's first death. Oh yeah, this is the new update as well. They now have like icons here. No. Wait. Bugnet. Nah, it's crazy. I have the feeling we're gonna die a million times.
Yeah. Ah, like this.
Ah, yes! I just saw that. Unexpected people, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
The new crafting system. Let me see how this works. So basically what it does, it looks in Nerby chests from what I heard and inside the inventory. Then you can just craft like that. So yeah. Okay, boom. Ah, pretty cool, pretty cool. Alright. The basics. Got the basics. Bro, Master Modus is gonna be so hard. Oh, fuck, bro. Is there a time where you are actually strong and it's not gonna be a pain 24/7 error? The Machen. Early hard mod. Okay, okay, yeah. Alright, alright. Dude, we are so fucked, bro. This eye is not getting any damage. Two damage, bro. Yeah, we need to mine, yeah. Okay, the spectating is cool as fuck. That's very cool. Also for like Twitch experience. Very, very useful. Let me try something. Okay, the normal... Ah, okay. We should make death counters, Liars.
Yeah. Gonna make it Wednesday again.
Yeah.
We might as well now.
Yeah. Bro, I can't laugh. I have to cough every time. It's so fucking annoying. Ooh. Okay. We are set up for the cave. We set up for the cave. Do this. Do this. Let's go. Chat, we're going in. Guys, come with me. Cave time, baby.
I think this cave was very small.
Cave time. Wait, that was it? This is a scam. Yeah. I mean, how do you mine in Terraria, Error? You're like the pro. Would you actually go up right now, or would you just mine the walls and wait for something new? Yeah, just mine, right? Yeah, just mine, like Minecraft. Let's go. We'll go left. And please work with ropes and stuff like that. I found something. What did I find here? Iron.
Ah, let me see.
Yeah.
Slime's there.
Yeah, better not. Oh. What do you need for arrows? Nice. This is so scuffed, bruh.
Hey, you wanna know just what just happened?
What?
It was fighting a demon eye, and suddenly a star fell out of nowhere and killed it.
Ah, nice.
Why are slimes so tanky?
Because we have master mode, they nearly have double their normal HP.
Quick question. Master mode, is it only pain or also better loot?
Better loot and pain.
Nice, at least that.
Something you might have already noticed. We have one extra accessory slot.
Ooh, let's fucking go. Okay, I like that. I like that, baby.
Now we have 6.
I like that.
Exactly.
Nothing for the noobs, error. Nothing for the noobs. Yo, what is that shit? You just died by a sandball?
Yeah, apparently.
I saw shit,
A
bro.
sandball?
I don't know what happened. I didn't see anything.
Oh, you mean like, you know, worms spat a sandball at you and you died?
Tungsten.
Currently, I'm just using arrows as my main defense.
I'm using ruthless wooden sword.
I mean,
Which
offense.
I'm using wooden sword, which I really hate. How do I make arrows? Does anyone know?
Stone and wood.
Ah, okay.
Even if they nerfed arrows and such, they are the only way I can kill stuff without me dying.
Mm. Iron. Do I need iron for anything, chat? Isn't that my first armor that I should get? I wanna get every single thing. I'm not gonna skip anything. I'm playing master mode and I really bad at the game. Don't wanna skip anything. Oh, you can't eat those? Look, this is so dangerous here. Don't beat Moonlord without me, Dana said. Bro, we are nowhere close to be beating Moonlord. Let me play safe, let me play safe. Anything good? Any chest? What is this?
Wow.
We do this. So, more. Ah, silt block. Very, very good. Let me get. I'm gonna get all the silt blocks. Let's go. Elias,
Ja,
mir fällt gerade eine Sache richtig auf.
was denn?
Wenn ich so streame wieder auf Englisch, ich kann nicht kommentieren, ne? Also kommentieren ist 0,0 da.
Why not?
Digga, weil ich nicht Englisch spreche, Native.
So?
Also klar, es geht klar, Seele, aber ich merke einfach, dass mein Wortschatz nicht so groß ist, weißt du?
Ah, fair enough.
Ja, ja. Seit wann kann sie da eigentlich Deutsch?
What?
Nothing.
Yo.
So. Okay. What you found, Error? That's my gold, that's my gold, that's my gold. Have a minecart? Mhm. Well, thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. Rip.
Damn. What do you mean, oh?
Wait. Where's the next chest?
A purple slime!
Careful, bro. Ah, okay, the world does get a backup. That's very good. Does get tin ore. My chest! My chest! I saw it first.
Are you guys fighting over chests?
Ah!
Oh.
Ah, Digga. Mace. Ja, was soll ich denn mit einer Mace, Mann? Ey, Digga.
Das ist gut.
Mace is rather good.
Ja?
Ja, used to quite some time last play so.
Let's go. Okay.
Especially in early game, it can be used to just kill zombies without even moving.
Yo, thanks, Error. Really appreciate it. That's how it should be. Get carried by the pros.
Wow, good underwater.
Yeah, like why? What the fuck? I wanna go down here. No, not home yet. Not home yet. Let's go somewhere. Mine.
Dear God, sand just nearly killed me. 50 damage.
Alright. Sido, calm down.
What do you mean, come down?
Ja, calm down. Auf dem Boden der Tatsachen. Komm wieder. Komm hier runter.
Huh?
Come down here. Let's mine together.
I am far away from base. I'm exploring.
Oh, wait. Let's go. Let's go. Jay, are you there? And what killed you?
A trap, I think.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
trap.
Oh shit, oh shit, shit.
What is our shit?
There's traps! I'm dead. GG's.
Everyone died.
Oh shit, bro. Nobody to spectate.
That one that I hate.
Let's make many torches. You can never have enough torches. Let's place a campfire here. Ah, there's already one. Whatever. That should be it. Should be it.
I think you need a lot of torches.
Is that an iron anvil? I have stone, I have wood. Where's the arrow?
Same, and I had five gold on me.
Chat, how do I make arrows? I don't see them. I have everything. I thought you only need stone and wood. I have everything. Very confused.
Oh, nah, yeah. Digging up graves can spawn ghosts.
Jay, how do I make arrows?
They don't always spawn it, but it's very likely.
A tungsten bow, because we don't need any tungsten really. And a gold. Yeah, I think we're good. Well, that's cool. Oh, wait, what? 222. Okay, it's fine. Wait. Okay. Nah, I'd rather have the set bonus. Let's see, what does he have to offer? Anything useful? Mining head would be nice. This would be nice. Okay, we're good. Back down to the mine. Nah, okay. No. I need arrows. Arrows. How do I craft this? Workbench. I have everything. Ah. Let's go. Let's make more. Workbench and more arrows. Yes. 1,000 arrows. Yeah, way better. Yeah, I have tungsten bow. Let's go, bro. Yep. Do I need iron? Well, I mean tin. Iron is good, but tin. Like for anything, like, I don't even know. Or can I just skip tin? It's just copper, okay, so shit. Okay. Skip tin. Ah, you... Collect gems? Sure. Will do. If I find any.
There's a worm somewhere here.
Need support. Let's go together. Very dangerous place.
As long as you don't shout at everything we see that's mine, we can go together.
Yeah. I see some red stuff on the left side.
No idea what that is.
Kinda wanna check that out.
Yeah, no, it's toggle to ice. This was right one, yeah. I'm gonna put that stuff.
Hmm?
Oh, I was with it.
I really wonder why it's red.
Yeah, no idea.
A zombie going down the cave, watch out.
Can't mine.
Yeah, perfect.
I have the feeling it's crimson ore. That's my feeling.
Might be.
Yeah.
Okay, got that. Is that? And okay, I can ignore that. Still. Cobweb. I'm pretty sure I have rope somewhere, right? I just want to press tab to open the inventory.
Nah.
Okay, got some silt blocks. They are very useful later if you need some specific material.
Well, we got Liars.
What?
We got Danas joining up later as well.
I'm not even sure how I died.
Lias is a well done steak, holy.
I did not no idea how that happened.
What do you mean burned to death? Nah, he was
Thank
cooked to
you.
perfection.
Cooked to perfection, my brother.
I mean, don't look at me, it's what the death message stated.
Wait. Oh. Silt block. I love silt block. Does anyone know how to get the machine for the silt blocks? I think it's silt and also some other thing. That you can gamble for ores and gems. Dude, there's silt everywhere. Let me get all of that. It is so good. I remember it carrying me many times. In terms of like making cool ass weapons. Oh yeah, be careful. I actually like that we have Crimson. Really like the enemies there and just... Yeah, like the whole theme. Definitely prefer Crimson over... what's the other thing called? No big cool on it. Yeah. Corruption, yeah. There's also something.
Okay, there are 3 zombies in the cave entrance.
I'm well aware of that, but did you really die to them? How?
Tried to
Yes,
cast them,
sir! Yes, sir! Yeah, sir.
Oh, okay, I understand now.
Woohoo. You understand the meeting, liars. See it. Yeah. I'm the first one to get health. Boom. I'm at 100. I'm at 120. Yes, sir. Let's fucking go.
Is that a flare gun?
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. Health is always nice. Is there a second one over there? Yo, 1 second. What is that? No, never mind. Never mind. We got health, baby. Let's go. Major thing. Especially for noobs like me. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Also got tons of slush.
Okay, that just
Silt.
can go.
Good start.
Up, it's not very good to get it down.
Very good start into master mode. Oh shit, look at that.
Perfectly fine path here.
Look at that shit.
What's that? Spore bat. Okay, that seems like an enemy. How much health does it? Okay, it doesn't have too much health.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing down there, so
One more hit.
probably want border going there.
Got it.
Ah, mud is useful as well. Let me use dirt for building. So, just like that. Just like that. Chat, I'm just warming up. I'm just warming up. I've been away for 2 months,
I'm checking out over there.
and now I'm slowly getting back into gaming. Okay, we good.
And this is where nearly where I died.
Also had major mental problems, everything you can imagine basically. I'm just slowly healing again, and it's feeling great. I'm feeling great.
Oh, that's useful.
Careful, there's enemies everywhere here. I'm also like stuck.
Yeah, I just noticed.
Where's this black slime there?
Lars, why are you like on 10 HP?
Go
Because
up.
there's some enemy in the water.
Stay there, Lars. If you come here, you're dead.
Okay.
There's black slime. Do you have an arrow?
Arrows?
Don't black slimes also
Careful, zombie, you're dead.
into multiple?
You are so dead.
How am I not dead?
Isn't the big slime the black slime also a mother slime? Like if you attack it, doesn't it spawn minions?
Let me see. Oh my god, I got it. No, black slime doesn't spawn. It doesn't. I got you.
Thank you.
Come fast. There's another thing shooting at you. Come fast. Down here. Close the thing. Come here.
Yep.
Let's mine down. Right there.
Oh yeah, here are spiders.
Yeah. Wait, no, never mind. Yeah. Let's go a bit to left, left. Down. Down.
He's asking if he can prep the boss, not spawn it in.
Yeah,
Because
what?
you can break 2 orbs without them spawning. Only the third orb that you break spawns in the boss.
And, yeah.
Oh, wait.
And each orb also gives you some loot, which means
Forgot
it
about
be...
that. Oh, no, I think it's-
You are allowed to destroy, 2 orbs, yeah.
Alright, nice, thanks.
Yeah. Just leave an item for me, please. Thank you. GG's! I mean, I'm coming back up anyways. Let's go together to the orbs. Let's go together.
Wall creeper, alright.
Yeah. Fucking wall creepers. Error, wait for me. Let's go together. Pick me up, bro. I wanna get a juicy item of it as well. Let's give everybody an item from the 2 orbs.
That's kind of hard. We're like 4 people, and you want
we are more than 4 people. I'm also counting in the offline people.
Okay.
Let's see.
But that makes it just more impossible. We have 2 items.
You see, enter the red team, bro.
I'm already on the red team, though.
You're not, are you?
I am.
Ah, okay.
I am, however, 2,000 blocks away, meaning you cannot see my indicator.
Ah, okay. Yo, wait for me, Error.
I'm the only one here without a mace.
I mean, you have a wooden sword, bro. It's also good.
Not really.
Actually, yes, bro.
Are you serious?
By the way, if you want to break orbs, I'd heavily suggest bringing along bombs. You wanna know what I just realized? I'm wearing cactus armor, right?
Yeah.
That cactus armor is dealing more damage than my sword. Like their thorns effect.
Get some bombs, please. Error. Yeah, it's really good balancing. I have some nice.
I also have some bombs.
Yeah, let's see if there's some new items as well coming with 1.4.5. I'm very curious. Very currywurst. Let me close this off. So.
The jungle is to the right, so the fortress, or how it's called, thank you. It's to the left.
Alright.
That's because jungle and dungeon, they always go opposite ways.
Is this special wood? Let me see. Nice. So where's the orbs? Wait, are there even orbs in Crimson? Bro, wait, 1 second. I think you're thinking about corruption. Corruption has orbs, definitely, but...
Yes.
Yes?
The Crimson Hearts.
Ah, alright. Let's go. Thank you. Wait, isn't there one right there? In front of me? Just blow that up. Ah, okay. Interesting.
I missed the blocks. There.
Laios was free! Free falling.
Laios, you're finally free, bro.
God,
Don't worry.
The death messages are so silly.
By the way, we're gonna get you some items, so don't worry. Let me pick that up! Gun!
Kitchen gun.
Let's go! Woohoo! Okay, first orb, gun. That's it. Wow, you only get one item?
Yes.
No fucking way, brother.
What do you mean no whip, huh?
I mean, that's cool. That's pretty cool, actually. 98, let's go. Okay, next you pick up error. Shit, help! So. Okay, next up we have the we choose the left one. Let's see. And another gun. That's crazy. Okay, we have 2 guns. Cool. Okay. Yeah, no more. Let's go back up. Recall, okay.
You guys have recall orbs or recall potions?
Yeah, use one. Hello, Zide.
Morning. I've decided to make myself a basement.
Morning, fella.
Give
flies.
Laios a gun.
Yeah, Laios, come home.
Okay.
Fair enough. Also, any of you going to magic as of late?
No, I won't.
Maybe I'm gonna do magic.
Because I found a wand of sparking, a magic wand
Last
that
year.
does fire damage.
I might. Maybe I do the magic again, yeah.
You should definitely do magic, yeah.
No.
You were very good at it
True.
last time.
Summoner is very, very nice.
Oh, I just noticed my camera's a bit blurry. When it's like focused in, zoomed in. Not a fan of that. 1 second, chat. I rather do this. Right? Ah, you know what? Fuck it. It's just a bit pixel. It's really nothing actually. Let's go. Okay, next up we have sort the stuff a little bit and craft some stuff. So, here, iron bars.
You could buy them from the shopkeeper. He sells torches for 10 copper.
What do we have? We have okay. Iron bow. That's iron helmet. Okay. Iron grease. Should we make iron armor? We probably should. We probably should. Wait, where can I make gold bars? Probably as well, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's make 32. Oh shit, this is expensive as fuck. But it's worth it. Let's get more iron first. Put some shit away. You need help, Thiele? I got wood. Actually, no, I don't have wood. Mm. You know what? Yeah. Let's go mine a bit. Yep.
Wait, how do y'all get the dynamite guy in here without having a fourth house?
I wish I knew, brother. Wait, what? Wait, so you don't need housing anymore?
Oh. I mean, there
Huh?
are still some requirements, like you need at least 2 houses for the fuck, I keep forgetting the names of the NPCs. The merchant
Ah.
to spawn in.
Okay, we're going down there. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Easy. Okay, chat, I'm gonna go to the toilet for a second. You protect me, okay? Nothing is gonna happen, surely. Nothing.
Okay. That's good.
Wow. Oh, nice. I survived. At least that. So. So. Do one thing really quick. So. So. Jay, are you there? I have a question. Like, how's the quality of the stream, chat? Is the quality fine? Oh my god. Okay, careful of traps. Careful of traps.
Who is shooting all these flares?
Pretty sure you can bring those statues alive somehow. Just picking them up, why not? We're gonna dig down over here. Weird. Oh, by the way, chat, of course, this is my first team, okay? Gotta get used to it again. Get the commentary back up to the old standards. Like, basically get better at it. I'm planning to do clips as well and upload them on... looks good, thank you, Jay. On Instagram, YouTube, everything. Maybe actually, maybe. Oh, probably yeah. YouTube and Instagram, yeah. And ERL streams upcoming. Stay tuned. Already booked a vacation with Liar's Light. We're gonna do some ERL streams from another country very soon. End of March. Very, very good stuff happening. Oh shit. I'm not gonna die, right? I'm not gonna die from that guy. Will I? I actually will. I won't because I'm pro. Oh my god, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, this place is absolutely dangerous. Let me see real quick. Yeah, I wanna go there so badly. Is that a minecart? That's even more. Okay, you guys, you gotta go. Come on, drop that thing there. Okay, I have a plan. I have a plan. Do this. What the fuck am I doing here? Okay, let's go this way. Hello, Billy. Servers online. Server is online. All the information you can just find them in the pinned message. Like password. Oh, that's a fake chest, is it? Chat? Is that a real chest down there? Okay, no hesitation. That's a very, very fake chest, isn't it? It isn't. It isn't! Oh, yes! Whew. Okay, okay, I see. Let's fucking go.
Oh?
Let's fucking go!
Why is it storming?
Oh no. Probably a boss incoming.
Nimbus?
Yo, I just found arcane Hermes boots. Material. Can I not combine it with the cloud?
What do you mean the annoying cloud?
I can't, Invite. You don't need invite, Billy. So what you want to do is open Terraria, click multiplayer, join via IP, then you copy the IP from the pinned messages, and that's it. It's gonna ask you for a password. Type in the password. It's also in the pinned messages, and yeah. No invitation, shit like that. I'm so dead. Oh no. Am I ready? Am I ready for the jungle? Yo guys, am I ready for the jungle? I really thought it. I really thought it, I swear. Well, now I'm in. Let's see, any juicy? Any juicers? Come on. Where's the chest, man? Probably some special ass loot in the jungle. Oh my god, hard. No! Okay, you know what? Do this. Easy. Let's go. Nice. Oh, baby. Is that infectious? It's not. 1 second, Billy. Yes, sir. So. Okay. Nice. Oh shit, I'm so dead.
So they're just gonna keep storming, or what's gonna happen now? Oh shit! Lightning deals like 1,455 damage. That's a shit ton.
I don't know. I actually don't know, Billy. I think like maybe 1 hour, something like that. I think about 1 hour. Yeah. He's like still doing something. Okay, how do I get through this? Ah! Oh god, what is the health? Ow. Eh! Okay, at least I got some stuff. Let's go. Fucking jungle slime, bro. I thought I'm ready for this biome. Let's go. So this is the starting house. When you join in, you spawn here. You got some chests here, some weapons. Pretty neat stuff.
And yeah, anyone gonna explain to me what this annoying cloud thing gonna be? Like, is it a boss? Is it just an event? What's it all about?
Wait, what? Enemy?
Where?
What is this? LOL.
Because I honestly wanted to stop that goddamn thunder.
It doesn't have mods, no. It is vanilla. Vanilla Terraria. 1.4.5.
Can we kill it now?
Yeah, just kill it, like...
I don't even know where it is.
Wait... Ah, we need rocket boots for that. What about if I put that in there? Okay. Okay, I see. I'm gonna keep that for now. Let's empty a bit. Okay. Hello, Error. Ah, bro, I thought when it says equipable,
Why do we need of emeralds?
it's accessory, but it isn't. Emeralds, yeah, I have none. So. Time to make a house. Where am I gonna live? Yo, who built this? Amazing shit. Already have the arena. Bro! The lightning is crazy, that's for sure. Come on. Error? You think you're base? Okay. Here? Nah, no way you're gonna do something epic. Let's fucking go. Wait, Error, you're at 200 health. Doesn't that mean I have Cthulhu? I think it does. It doesn't matter though, it's okay. Yeah. All good. Yo, what's with the mace? You wanna do something with it? If I could talk to the merchant. Ah. Occupied by Seele. You know what? Whatever we don't need, just put in there. Who cares, man? Who cares? I put a bunch of stuff in the second and third chest, by the way. Also, like a cloud on a bottle, if anyone wants that. Pretty cool stuff over there. Just have no idea what I can do with that. Right.
Thanks for the cloud in a bottle.
You're welcome, mate. Oh, thank you for the mace! Holy shit! Let's fucking go. You Error, wait for me though. You gotta take me, take my hand, bro. I'm lost. Take my hand. Oh yeah, I can slide on the walls. Yo, look! Look what I can do. Wait 1 second, let me, here. Look. Haha, let's fucking go. By the way, I'm trying to get a full iron armor. I'm getting good, okay. You're alright, Seele, alright.
Oh ja, dann bye for today.
Oh, this is very useful. Look, you can like get up like that. By the way, I'm not sure how long I'm gonna stay. Also planning on playing other games. Yo, Error, wake up, bro. What the fuck are you doing? Error, what the fuck, mate? Yeah, you're tired. I see that, bro.
There's a storm again.
I think we did pretty good progress for like the first day, didn't we? I mean, I went in the jungle, I got jungle stuff.
Oh, I got a bit of lightning that was on Error. Because I was
So-
above him.
Pretty neat, pretty good. Also, quick thing, quick announcement. Pretty farm for almost for all of us. It's very nice. The trophy house. I'm not sure if we want to do a whole trophy house. I mean, I'm fine with just make one like wooden platform line and place all the trophies on there. So just do that. Wait, you gotta do armor. I thought I'm gonna do iron armor. So you're gonna farm like floating island trophy house. Yeah, something like that. So Error, you gonna do armor for everybody? So I don't have to... Okay. Well then... Well, then I was gonna go find some chests. And gems. I found an amethyst tree.
That's very nice. I think I need it as well. Match of it.
Why do you need why does everybody need amethyst?
Also for magic, you need all the gems for the magic stuffs.
Okay. Okay. Alright. Oh, and by the way, yeah, hooks! Alright. Get me in there! Let's go. I mean, I'm still gonna farm gold if I see gold. There's a bunch of gold here. Yeah, I'm gonna do the same in a minute, Error. Thanks for joining up in the first day. And I wish you much fun in the playthrough. Hope we catch us soon.
I'll see you probably soon.
Yeah. See ya.
See you.
Oh yeah. Whoa! Oh fuck you, man. Just... What the fuck is that thing even? Get me there. There's a chest down here if anyone wants that. This is fucked up, man. Yo, who did you find, Lias? Talk to him. Who's this?
Yes.
Yo, who's that? Talk to him.
Yeah, I do. Chicken bones? Why are you asking?
Hä?
What does he have? An egglet? For movement speed increase? Strange brew? Okay.
I mean, since Error's doing armor, I'm not going to focus on that anymore. Nice, that's one thing less on my mind right now. It's like very, very annoying every playthrough.
Oh, Artisan Loaf, that sounds really useful. Consume to permanently increase crafting station range. Yeah, I can.
Sorry, what exactly does it do?
Permanently increase crafting station range.
That is very, very good. That is extremely good, especially for a new update.
That costs 10 gold.
Because the crafting tables, they look around themselves for chests. This is
very good.
very, very good. Wait, wait, I'm gonna open your stream for a second. Can you go in his inventory?
It's open.
Let me see real quick. What is that bread thing? Let me put it off push talk. What is that bread thing over there?
That's the one I told you. That's the one.
Hover over it, please.
I do right now. Will it take a moment for the stream?
Okay. Interesting. Next. Okay, that's basically it. Wait, what is the second thing? Huh? Unpredictable healing. That sounds good. And the first thing is very important, I believe.
Increase movement speed. Yeah.
You need the egglet for some very, very important combinations.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, does this guy just stay here? So he mark that any somehow, or does he leave later? Do you know that?
I'm not exactly sure. 1 second, let me. Wait, what's his name?
Moment. Skellington.
Skellington. Terraria. How do you. He is not a town NPC and will despawn when off screen.
Okay.
Lol.
Oh, they can't afford the good stuff from him right now, sadly.
Yeah. Alright. Lars?
Yeah?
I'm gonna actually say was very fun first day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. What's your progress so far?
Yeah, I got the first one given by someone, and you got me a cloud in a bottle. It's very useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, I'm gonna 1 second.
I think. Oh yeah, Billy just joined.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for today. I already left the server. Wish you guys much fun.
Nope.
And talk to you later.